What's up guys? In today's video I'm going to teach you and I'm going to show you how to handle a custom indicator. This is a task that it looks as if is something very difficult, but trust me, it's not. So how do we do this? It's actually very simple, but first of all, if you want the code of this bot, you have to come here to my GitHub to trading bot. Then you come to MQL5, and indeed in this video we are going to use the DarkPoint indicator. So yeah, you have here the code that we are going to implement right now, and yeah, here you have it. There's also one thing I have to say, and is that I truly recommend you coming to this channel, because indeed I had difficulties loading information from this indicator. But until I saw this guy who was explaining everything perfect. So yeah, I recommend you coming here because he explained everything in a perfect way. So yeah guys, once we have this, what we have to do is what we always do. We open MT5 and here you have the indicator. If you want to get the indicator is free, you just have to come here, you click right click here, buy in the market, you just simply type here dark, and here you have it, DarkPoint MT5. The indicator is actually very good, you will see later in the video, but yeah, this is how you get it, and yeah, it is like that. So for example, here you have a signal which tells you, hey, open a buy. So here you open a buy and it automatically tells you where to put the take profit, the stop loss, etc. You can see that now in the way I have this configured, we have 3 take profits and 2 stop loss. You can have an additional stop loss, like a third stop loss, but whatever. This is the default settings. So here we have this with the default settings. You have to actually see one thing. You can see that here we have a normal buy, which is this symbol, and here we have another symbol which is with a star. So you have 2 different type of signals, one normal and the other with the star. So you have to take that into account. And the same happens with the cell. You can see that this one here is just a simple circle, but here you have a star. But both of them are cell signals. So what we have to do is that we need to recognize these signals, the buys and the sells, but later, and this is where I was having some issues and this guy did really well, is we need to find where are these lines, at which prices are these lines. So yeah guys, let's get to that. What is the first thing that we have to do? We have to come here to the IDE, and actually you can see that this is the code. Let me delete the file and we are going to create a new one. So I come here, delete, okay, now it's deleted. Okay, I don't want to save, perfect. So how do we start? What we actually have to do is that we should click here on new, expert advisor. Here we are going to give it a name, for example, DarkPoint, and DarkPoint, and that's it. And you don't click any of this stuff because we are not going to put any of this. So next, and that's it. We are going to remove everything from here. And now the first thing that we need is that we should be able to load the information from the indicator. And how did we actually load the information from indicators in MT5? We needed 2 things. First of all, a handler. So for example, this is going to be the handler and we are going to call it DPH. DP stands for DarkPoint. So this is going to be the handler. This is the first thing that we need. Then the other thing that we need is an array to store the information that that indicator has. Indeed, since this is going to have, since this has 4 signals, 2 buy signals and 2 sell signals, we are going to need 4 arrays. So we put here double, and here we have the buy signal 1, this is the buy signal 1, and indeed this is almost the same. This is going to be the buy signal 2, this is going to be the sell signal, and this is going to be the sell signal 2. Perfect. Now that we have this, we also need some variables to store the take profits and the stop loss. And you're going to see that we are going to do a break even in this bot, so it is a little bit better. So we are going to store the take profit 1. First at the beginning is going to be 0. And okay, the same happens with the take profit 2, the take profit 3, now the stop loss 1, and the stop loss 2. Perfect. So now we have everything we need for the indicator, but now the bot needs more things. For example, we are going to create an MQL rates array in which we are going to store candles. So perfect. And for now, this is okay. So let's start with initializing some things. How do we initialize things? Remember that we have this event, which is the onInit, and it only executes whenever we put to work the bot. So it only executes once. That's fine. So what we can do here is, for example, initializing the indicator. How do we do this? We are going to put, dph iCustom. This is how you load a custom indicator. The handler, the function that you have to call, is not, for example, imacd, which is only for the MACD, ima, which is only for the moving average. No. In this case, since it is custom and someone else did it, you put here iCustom. And actually is something very simple. Here, you just have to put, okay, in which symbol do you want it to work? As always, in the current one. This means that it is going to work in the current symbol. Okay, in which period? In the current period. And now you have to put the name, well, not the name, the path to get to that indicator. Look, this is something very simple. Let me open this. The only thing you have to take into account is that, for example, when you download things from the market, it will be here in this market folder. But if you want to take this from the indicator, like there's a way of, for example, loading things from this indicator folder by putting something like this. If you put something like this, it is different. Like it is not going to be the exact same thing. But look, for now, you just have to put here market, because it is in the market folder. And now you just have to put the name of the indicator, which is this one. So we are in the market folder, and now we put dark space point space MT5. Perfect. So now we have this. Another important thing is that you can see that whenever we try to put a custom indicator, there are some parameters. What if we don't want the custom parameters? In this video, we want the custom parameters, so this is going to be like this. But in case you don't want that, for example, I saw that this is you can put this, an empty line. But here you are putting the parameters. So the next arguments that you send to this function are going to be the parameters. So for example, this one is this parameter. So now this one, if we put here this refers to that parameter. And here you could put whatever you want. For example, now 40, instead of 40, if I want 45, here I would put 45. So on, so on, so on. You keep putting parameters and you change things. You have to take into account that, for example, in a true false parameter, you cannot put whatever you want. You just can put true or false. So yeah, that's very important. But since we are going to use the default values, you can leave this like this. Perfect. So now that we have this, we are going to need to, we are going to load everything, all the information. So now we are going to initialize the arrays set as series, and we are going to put here the by signal true. Perfect. So we are going to do the same thing for the by signal 2. This is going to be also for the sell signal. Perfect. And finally we need to do the same thing for the candles array. So we put here candles. Look, also there is one thing with this, and is that the first candle, if you just load the indicator, in the first candle, you are going to have very strange values which are going to make the bot not work in a proper way. So what you need to actually do is to wait a candle so that everything gets loaded perfectly. So how do we wait a candle? What we can say is that here we are going to put a timer, event set timer, and we are going to call this function period second that is going to give us the seconds of a candle. We're going to put here +1. so we don't have any mistakes. And indeed, we could put by 2, but yeah, +1 is fine. So now, what we are going to do is that we are going to have a flag, and this flag is going to be time passed, which is at the beginning false. So if the time that we are speaking about has not passed, we are not going to allow the bot to operate because it is going to have mistakes, it is going to have errors. Okay, once the timer gets triggered, we are going to set that flag to, hey, you can now operate. So here we put that time passed is equal to true, and this is fine. Perfect. So now we can continue and we can actually call the event on timer. So not on timer, sorry, on tick. On tick. So on every tick we want something, well, we want to do something, and in this case is checking if we have to open or not an operation. So we need to check the signals, but now we need to load the information from the signals. We have the handler, so now we can load the information from the signals. How? Quite simple, guys. We just put here copy buffer, and we have to call dph, then the buffer num. This is also very important, and for example, for this, the 0 buffer refers to the byte signal, and look, thanks to that guy, because I didn't know which number referred to that number, and he managed to get that. So yeah, that's thanks for him, so I have to give him credit. And I know that the 01 is the byte signal. By the way, in the description you are going to find his channel, his channel and the link for the video. So the 0 again is the buffer number for the byte signal, and we just want one value. So we are going to start from the position 1. Remember that here what we are actually saying is that, let me show you, this is the position 0 because it is the last candle. The position 1 is this one. We want the previous candle, so we are always checking the previous candle, and if the signal is here, we are going to open an operation. So here we start in that position and we just want one value, and we are going to store this in the byte signal. Byte signal. Indeed, this is actually very similar for everything. So here for the byte signal 2 it is the same, but well, this is not the byte signal 2, sorry, this is the cell signal. For the cell signal it is like this, and indeed the buffer number is the 1. In the buffer number 2 we have the byte signal 2, the star, and in the buffer number 3 we have the cell signal 2, which is the star for the cell. Okay, so now we have this loaded, but we also need one thing. Okay, sorry, this is not supposed to come here. We also need one thing, which is the, well, to store the candles. So how do we store the candles? It is actually very simple. We are going to call the function copy rates. dph, well, not dph, sorry, I was checking this is, yeah. So copy rates, it needs the symbol, then it needs the period, and then it needs the starting position. We want here the last candle, not the previous one, and we want just one candle. That is going to be enough candles. Perfect. So now that we have these, we can start checking some things. So for example, we can check if we have a signal to open a position or not. So we are going to create here a function which is going to return a boolean that is going to be called signal. So this function is going to return true in the case there is a signal. How do we know if there is a signal or not? When there is not a signal, this value this array contains a value, well, the value when there is a signal, the value is not 0. That's it. So here we are storing values in the array. So if there is a signal, the array is going to contain a value which is different than 0. But if there is not a signal, every value in the array is going to be 0. That is perfect. So in order to check if there is a signal, we are going to put here, if anything is bigger than 0, it means that there is a signal. So we can actually take this. Okay, by signal, pom pom, pom pom. Okay, so here this is the by signal 2, this is the cell signal, and this is the cell signal 2. That's fine. Okay, so this will return true if there is a signal, whether it is a by or a cell. So what we are actually going to do is that, okay, if there is a signal, perfect, and this is, well, later we will do this, we are going to open operations, but we need to load, well, to store the take profit and the stop loss. And actually, this is not stored in the indicator. This is a line drawn in the window. I know it sounds very obvious, but there is a difference between being in the indicator as the signals, because you can actually access them through the indicator, through the copy buffer function, but this is an object in the window, so we need to access to that in that way. And this is actually the hard part that I didn't know how to do, and that guy knew how to do. So you have to actually check one thing, and is that, for example, here, the name, in order to access to this value, we need the name. And the name contains DP, if it is a stop loss, SL, line, and then a number. This first number is the identifiers, the identifiers. So for example, this is the stop loss 1. You can see the first number was a 1. But here, this is the stop loss 2, and the first number was a 2. Perfect. So the other numbers are basically just the time on which this candle appears. So we need to get the time, and that's it. So we can continue. And actually, this is very simple. What we can do is that the first thing that we are going to do is to take the current time. And in order to get that, we are going to call the function iTime, and here we put the symbol, the current period, and we just want the previous candle. So the shift is going to be 1. But this is going to return a number, and we want a string. So how do we do this? How do we transform a number to a string? We can call the function integer to a string. That's it. Perfect. And look, this line, again, I want to thank that guy. Oh, wow. Here you have it. Remember, this guy, he is the genius. So go to his channel and check this video, because that's how I knew how to do it. That's perfect. Okay. I will not do more spam. And yeah, fine. So the next thing that we have to do is that now that we have the string, we can actually load the values. So for example, the take profit 1 is going to be object get double, and okay, chart ID. If you put 0, it refers to the main window. Now the object name, you can see that when you want to take a stop loss, it is going to first have DPSL line. When you want to take a take profit, it is going to have DPTP line. So okay, that is common always. So we put DPTP line. Since this is the take profit 1, we put here a 1, and now we concatenate the current time. And we want actually from this object the price at which this is. Perfect. So we can do the exact same thing for the others, for the TP2, the take profit 2, the take profit 3. We put here take profit 3. And finally, we need to do the same thing from the stop loss. And look, the stop loss is here SL. And here we put the 2, and actually here SL1, SL2. Perfect. So now that we have this, we can open a position. So now instead of here, well, we are going to create another function, and is by signals. So we are going to put here with a capital letter by signal, and this function is going to return true whenever there's a by signal. So we are going to actually take this, because it is as simple as taking this. Perfect, and that's it. Also, I forget that we don't want the bot to work if the time has not passed. So we need to check here that the time is true. Time passed is here true. Perfect. Now we are going to do the same thing for the sell operation. So here instead of buy, it is sell, and here it is sell. And actually here, instead of buy, it is sell. That's totally fine. So now that we have this, we can open positions. So we are going to say if there's a buy signal, well, if the signal is actually a buy, because we have signals, but we don't know which type it was, we are going to open an operation. But also we need to check that the stop loss 1, which is the one we are going to use, and the take profit 3 are different than 0, because otherwise it means that this didn't load the information correctly. Perfect. So now that we have this, we are going to double ask, and here we are going to say symbol info double, here the symbol ask, we want symbol ask, and now we need to normalize this because this can return loads and loads of decimals. So here we are going to put this, we put digits, and here we take this normalized double. That's it, that's perfect. And now we are going to open an operation, a buy, trade buy. So how do we open the buy? It is actually very simple. Here we have this. Later we are going to do something with the lottage because it's going to be dynamic and it's going to have also a martingale, I forgot to tell you. And actually this is going to be in the current symbol. Now, okay, I also forgot to import this trade object. I was wondering why I didn't have the, yeah. So here, how do we import this? Include, we are going to put trade.mqh, that's fine. And here, see trade, and now that we have the trade object, what we also have to do is to have an unsigned long variable in which we are going to store the information regarding the trade ticket. So here we are going to call this trade ticket. And actually now we are going to have, some help. And this is the price, so we are going to put here the ask, the stop loss, we are going to put the SL1, and here we are going to put the take profit 3. We are going to leave it at 3. We don't want any comments, so we leave it like this. Now we need to store the, okay, this is actually very close to everything, I don't know why. Okay, we need a trade ticket, so we put here trade ticket is going to be all equal to trade result order. That's perfectly fine. And now we also need to store some things. So for example, what do we need to store? We need to store the operation type. So we are going to create an enumeration. We are going to put here enum op type, and here that's how you create an enumeration. Now we are going to put the values buy and sell, and we have our own type. So we are going to create a variable of our own type, which is not a type. And here we say, okay, op type is going to be, well, we are going to leave it like this here. And here we're going to say, okay, since we have opened an operation, a buy operation, op type is going to be equal to buy. That's perfectly fine. So I'm checking that everything is okay. Yeah, I think so. So, okay, perfect. We finished with the buy, but the sell is going to be actually very similar. So here we're going to have an else if, and we say, okay, if there is a sell signal, and actually this returns bool. Yeah, okay, let me put this, in the right, oh my god. Okay, whatever, here. So this is like this. Perfect. Here, instead of the ask, we need the bid. And here we are going to take the symbol bid, that's fine. And here we call sell, and we put here bid. And here, instead of having buy, we are going to have a sell. That's perfectly fine. So now we are going to start with the break-even thing. It is actually very simple, but, well, before that, we are going to do one thing, and is that, okay, we have opened the operation. We are going to say that the time passed is equal false, and now we call the timer event, okay, event set timer, we call period seconds, and okay, once the timer have passed, here I forgot to put that we are going to kill the timer. Perfect. So now we have this perfectly. we are going to start with the break-even thing. So what we actually want is that, for example, if we are here and the price moves, okay, we are here, boom, gets to this point, to the take profit 2, what it's going to do is that the stop loss is going to be moved to the take profit 1. So if it goes down, we will not lose. We will take the profit from the take profit 1. So that's what we are actually going to do, and it's something very simple. And for that, the first thing that we are going to need is that we need several things. So we need to store the price in which the break-even is going to get triggered. Actually, the price is the take profit 2, so we actually don't need that. So yeah, I think that we can remove this. So we don't need this, but we need a variable, a flag, to say if we have modified the function. So at the beginning, this is going to be false, and yeah. Okay. So now what we have to do is to create a function to basically do that, to change the stop loss once we get to that point. So this function is going to be called break even, and basically we have to check one thing, and is that, okay, if we are going to say here, okay, boom, the operation type is by, if the operation type is by, OP, I don't know why this is telling me something like it doesn't exist. I think there may be a mistake here. Let me check now. So if I put this, it is going to tell me, I don't know. Okay, if the operation type is a buy, okay, and the price, the last candle's price, the close one, is above the take profit 2, it means that this is okay. But also, we want this in the opposite way, in case we have a sell. Okay, if the operation type is sell and the candle's close is below, because now we are going down, it means that we have to do something. Okay, also we need to put this between all this between parentheses, because there's another condition, which is that we haven't modified anything. If this is not modified, if we haven't modified anything, we are actually going to modify the position. So what we are going to do is that we can actually leave it like this. We say, okay, the variable modified is going to be equal to the result of calling to the function position modify, and we put here the trade ticket, then the stop loss, which is, well, the new stop loss, which is the take profit 1, and the next stop loss, which is actually the same one, the take profit 3. That's perfect. So you can check here this. So what this means is that if this returns an error, if we have an error calling this function, this modify will be false. So it will allow to try again this function. That's it. Okay, so now that we have here this, we actually need to be calling this function all the time. So we are going to put here break even. So this will check if we have to open a position or not. Perfect. So the next thing that we have to do here is that we need to check whether or not there is a position open, because we need to reset, for example, this. Let's say that the position is closed. Now this is set to true, and the break even will not work ever. And also here we also need to check. Okay, let me check here. Yeah, we also need to check that the trade ticket is different than 0, because if it is not, well, if it is equal to 0, sorry, if it is 0, it means that there is not a position open. So in order to reset all these values, we are going to do, okay, position select by ticket. Okay, now we are going to send the trade ticket, and this function returns true if the position is there, and it returns false if the position is not there. It is closed. So we are going to put here this, and it means that, okay, the position is closed, so we can reset the trade ticket variable, and we can also reset the modified variable to false. That's perfect. So also here we have the time passed, and I think that we have everything. Let me check, because I don't want to have any kind of mistakes. So okay, Also, I forgot, we need to put the lotage things. So we are going to create here a function called getLotage, and actually we are going to have a martingale. So whenever we lose, we are going to bet the double, so that we win. You have to be very careful with these things, because if you lose a lot of times in a row, basically you are going to lose everything. So yeah, we call this function getLotage, but we need another global variable. But yeah, we are going to have this global variable, which is going to be double lotage. And actually this variable is going to be equal to an input that we are going to create, double initial lotage, that is going to be equal to 0.01 initial lotage. And here we put initial lotage. That's it, perfect. And now what we are going to do in this getLotage function is the following. Okay, we need to check if the previous operation is successful. We are going to create now this function. Then we do something. But if it is not successful, the lotage is going to be equal, well, it is going to be multiplied by 2. Else, it means that we are in a successful lotage. We are not going to change that, and the lotage is going to be equal to the initial lotage. We are going to return, I know you don't have to return this, but I don't want to be calling this function all the time here, so I will just call it whenever I want to have this. So yeah, that. Okay, we need to do the last thing now, which is, how do we check if the previous operation was a success or not? So we have this function that is going to return a Boolean variable, so it is successful or not, true or false. And remember that the name is this one. We are going to take it, we are going to put it here, and we are going to do the following. Okay, let me remove this. History, select, time, current. And okay, what we are actually going to do is that, okay, we are going to select from the history. We are going to say, hey, give me the positions from the previous 12 hours. Okay, so now we are going to put the time current minus 12 hours, 60 by 60 in seconds. These are 12 hours in seconds. And now from this time to the actual time, to the current time. Okay, now that we have the history. So now what we want is the previous function, the last, well, not the function, the last operation opened. So we, well, not open, the last operation, that's it. So we are going to have here the pref ticket, and actually we are going to do history, deal, get double, not get double, sorry, get ticket. And from the ticket, well, in order to get the ticket, sorry, we are going to do history, deals, total, -1. So we need to put here the index, and we are just telling, hey, give me the last one. That's it. Now that we have this, we can actually check the profit. So the profit is going to be history, deal, get double, and from the previous position, give me the deal profit. That's it. And now we are going to return whether this profit is positive or not. Okay, so now we compile and we have several errors. And let me check, because invalid suffix, and is that, okay, here we need cell signal 2. Let's compile again. Okay, some operator expected. Okay, so now we need to test it. So we compile and we come here to the strategy tester. We come to this. We are in the EURUSD last month tick on based on real ticks. You put here the visual mode, you click on start, and let's check what happens. Let me open this here, and yeah, so you can see this here, and we have a position here, and you can see the lines. This is the take profit one, but I can see that it doesn't have the take profit and the stop loss, so there is an issue there. So we should check that. And here, I don't know what was happening because it looked as if we didn't have a take profit or a stop loss. It didn't open the position. Okay guys, so there was a big mistake here and I forgot that I have to put here this. So that's why it is not loading and it is not opening positions, because the name was not right. So let's remove all the prints that I have written to check everything. So we compile and now let's check if it works and let's see if it works or not. Okay, let me put this here. So it should open now once. Okay, so you can see that once we reach we have the signal, it opens a position, and now if we get to this tick profit, it will change the stop loss. So let's see if that also works correctly. So you can see that now this is dancing, moving, yeah, whatever. So let's see if it gets to that point. I think it actually gets. So we just have to wait a little bit. Okay, now it's going down. We almost have it there. Okay, you can see that now it did that, and check where the take profit is. Well, the stop loss is there. So now if it bounces back, we are not going to lose anything and we are going to have the take profit 1. That's perfect. So actually it almost touched the take profit 3, but look, whatever. We are going to make this go faster and we are going to check them. So for example, this one, it didn't go to the take profit 2, so it went to the stop loss. And now, okay, this one, it looks as if it did, and then it came back, so it touched the take profit 1. So it didn't get to the take profit 3, but it could. So yeah, that's it, guys. So for example, this one is open. Let's see what happens. So we put this, and you can check that now it looks as if it is going up. So for example, also you can see, let's see the money. So you can see that we are winning a little bit, but remember, this is due to the martingale, but you have to be very careful, because if you lose in a lot of times in a row, you are going to get out so bad. So it looks as if this one is going to be dancing all the time. So yeah, I don't know why there is no middle point between going fast and going too fast, because if I now do this, check this, like it's going crazy fast. So for example, this one is open, and you can see that this one is above the take profit 2, and also you can check that the stop loss is here in the take profit 1. So we can make this a little bit smaller so you can check that perfectly, and now the take profit is still here in the take profit 3, and actually here in this one we touched the take profit 3. That's fine. This one, let's check what happens. Okay, this one also touched the take profit 3, and you can see that we have some earnings. But look, I do not recommend you using this strategy. So remember guys, you have this bot in my GitHub, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next